how our coping mechanisms work and how we can take advantage of our everyday challenges in service to continually upgrading our consciousness, in service to continually like clearing the patterns, clearing the trauma, releasing, clearing our karma. So the 4 steps are, first one, allowing ourselves to feel our humanity. And often when we're feeling great, we do that a little more easily, but it's actually interesting to see that psychologically, often if we're not feeling our more painful moments, we're actually also not really feeling the joy, really letting ourselves be present and being so grateful that this happens. Or, when we're at a party or we're in something that we really love on vacation, we're actually not really like experiencing the joy that perhaps we would like to, or we think we should be. So the first step, and obviously this is something that I talk about over and over again, and this is what we'll be playing with briefly this morning, is just really allowing ourselves to feel in the present moment. And what I find challenging about this is just the limitation of words. Really, it might be more accurate just to be present, right? For you, actually really like in each moment being present, not being up in our head, in our thoughts, tomorrow, yesterday, a story, thinking about what's going on, but just being present, being connected with this present moment is really what that is. There are so many different words that we can describe that, but I love the way that Eckhart Tolle talks about being can only be felt. It can't be thought. It's not a process of the mind. It's a process of the body and the heart. So the first step, whenever we're challenged, but honestly, for life in general, just really allowing ourselves to be so fully present in our body means to be alive and to be feeling in our beautiful body. So we'll dive into that a little bit in a moment. But these 4 phases that I have found working with myself and very predictably with clients is, in a challenging moment, really just being in the body, feeling what's present. Then the second phase is to become aware of the coping pattern, and we're going to look at that next week. Then the third phase is finding the pure loving intention at the heart of the coping pattern, because sometimes we can be aware of something that's going on, but until we can really see and acknowledge the goodness in it, and we'll pack that in stage 4. It's just a really important key to see that it's not against us, right? It's completely for us. And then the 4th phase is to upgrade that contraction or the coping mechanism, to upgrade it into a new energy, to give it a new job, because really anything that's going on in our body is a process of loving, I experience. But often what's going on in terms of our limited patterns is a human part of us trying to get love from outside of us, rather than experiencing it from where it actually really is, which is who we are, from spirit within. And whether or not that's we people please, we try and make things better for people, or we hide so we're not a burden to other people. There is always a search for loving at the heart of everything, but if it's a coping mechanism, it's a process of us searching for a loving out in the world, from another person, from an achievement, from an addiction, from food, whatever it is, rather than being present and in our body and going through whatever it takes to receive that loving from within, where it really exists, our connection to spirit, our oneness. So for this morning, we're just going to play a little bit with, how do you feel, right? So I love the word feel, because I'm so emotional. It just works for me. If you ask me like whether or not I'm having a great time or a challenging time, if you ask me to really like feel, like how do I feel in this moment, I know how to do that. And honestly, I think I know how to do that because I learned how not to do that. When my mum died, I stopped feeling. It was too painful. So I knew how to like turn my feelings off so that I didn't cry and that I could just armor up. So because I had to relearn how to feel, I now know what that is, but I do believe that it's not as abundant as we might think it is, just humanity's ability to actually feel and be present. So I'm just going to ask that we all call forward a moment over the last little bit, and it can be one of either really big, great positive emotion, or a big, great negative emotion, but just a moment over the last month that was big, right? It could either be like a big celebration or like a big accident, or for whatever reason, you just wake up and you have a big depression. I had a couple of days like that last week, astrologically, cosmically. There is a lot going on. So I just experienced that last week, but just really allow yourself to find a big emotion, a big moment of experience over the last month. And I want us all really to take authority and becoming more aware of how is our way for getting into our body and saying yes. I love the way that Eckhart talks about in each and every present moment, how can you like say yes to the present moment so fully that it feels like you've chosen it. Often when it's challenging, right, we're actually in a process in our body of saying, no, I don't want to feel this. I'm disconnecting. I'm pushing it away. So is saying yes to this present moment a key for you? Is that the word of surrender a key for you, right? I actually love the analogy of if I'm afraid, or if I'm angry, if I'm in a negative emotion, if I kinesthetically kind of ask my body to like be on a roller coaster and throw my arms up in the air, surrender to the energy that wants to move through my body, truly just say yes, surrender, open my chakras metaphysically, right? Instead of being in any level of contraction in my body, can I just fully say yes, surrender, feel the anger, feel the fear, feel the joy? Can I just be so here and now, right? Is that essence of surrender a key? Is that powerful for you? But as we're just aware of this big moment in our life, just really be aware of what's your key. How do you really get in your body, get aligned into your humanity, and just really be there, say yes, right? It is a process of acceptance, of cooperation. And when we have that acceptance and cooperation with the present moment, magical fucking things happen. We do get the understanding. We do get the spiritual altitude when we can come into an alignment, an acceptance, a cooperation with what's going on for us in this moment. And we'll just complete today with what often is all I need to do sometimes when I have a challenge, is often just to really be aware of, to feel that, to name that, to acknowledge that, just to be aware of, oh, wow, like I'm afraid of that. Oh, wow, I'm angry about that. Oh, wow, like I feel depressed. Often just an acknowledgement of like my human is feeling that. And then what's important for me, and we now know what's important in terms of our neurological wiring and our continued healing, is bringing in the loving. You know, can we just like bring in that acceptance, that loving? Nothing to change, nothing to fix. But can we just really be aware that there is an even greater part of us that is listening to us, is holding us, is loving us? So can be aware of, yeah, in this big moment, yeah, part of me was afraid or was whatever. And just also experience that part of you that is holding, that is loving you, that is embracing you. Because the more that we can be aware of that bridge, right? Our human into the spirit, the more we do clear out anything that's not for our highest good. We let go of any contraction in our physical level and continue to lift into who we are spiritually. And so this week I am gonna just put it on the table. I'm definitely gonna put it on the table for myself, but just moment to moment, can we just be a little more aware of really being fully in our body and just feeling whatever is present? Our senses are a wonderful way to do that, right? If we're really like smelling, feeling, seeing, hearing, using all of our senses, it's actually a profound way to be connected and embodied in a way that actually helps us lift into the spirit. So just this week, let's be a little more aware of, yeah, are we actually alive and present in this moment, feeling in our body? And then next week, we're going to dive into what I use as my top 2 questions or my top 2 curiosities for really unpacking any coping mechanism that might be at heart as to why I'm feeling this out of balance way. So I hope that's helpful. I love you all. See you soon.